The extra sandwich. Every morning, Mina packed 2 sandwiches. One was for herself, simple, reliable, always the same. The other was never labeled. No name, no note, just wrapped carefully and tucked beside the first, as if it belonged there. At first, it was only habit. Years ago, her mother had said, "You never know who might need what you have." Mina hadn't fully understood then, but the words stuck, quiet and patient. That Tuesday, the rain came early. Mina was already late when she spotted the man sitting near the bus stop. His jacket was too thin for the weather, his shoes soaked through. He wasn't asking for anything, just staring at the wet pavement like it had personally disappointed him. She hesitated. The extra sandwich felt heavier in her bag than usual. She told herself she was busy. She told herself someone else would help. She told herself a lot of things. Then the bus roared past, splashing water onto the curb, and the man flinched. Mina turned around. "Hi," she said, holding out the wrapped sandwich. I packed an extra." The man blinked, surprised, as if kindness had caught him off guard. He took it carefully, like it might disappear if he moved too fast. "Thank you," he said. His voice cracked on the second word. Mina smiled, awkward and quick, and walked away before he could say anything else. She thought that would be the end of it. It wasn't. The next week, she saw him again, this time standing, holding a broom outside a small shop. He looked cleaner, steadier. When he noticed her, his face lit up. "You," he said. "The sandwich." Mina laughed. "I guess I'm memorable now." He told her that day had been the first time he'd eaten since morning. That the sandwich wasn't just food, it was proof. Proof that someone had seen him when he felt invisible. Proof that maybe things could still change. "I went to a shelter that night," he said. "Got help. Found work." Mina felt something warm bloom in her chest. Not pride, something quieter. Gratitude. That night, she packed 2 sandwiches again. Weeks passed. Then months. Sometimes the extra sandwich went to a tired student. Sometimes to a construction worker who'd forgotten lunch. Sometimes it stayed in her bag, uneaten but ready. And Mina realized something important: kindness doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, wrapped in paper, waiting to be given. She never stopped packing the extra sandwich. Because you never know when a small thing might change everything. After that day, Mina began noticing people more. Not in a dramatic way. Not like a hero scanning the world for problems to fix. Just small noticing: who looked tired, who lingered too long near cafes, who stared into shop windows without going inside. The extra sandwich was no longer just habit. It became intention. Some days, she gave it away. Other days, she didn't. And on those days, she felt oddly relieved that it was still there, like a quiet promise she hadn't needed to keep yet. One evening, as winter settled in and the air turned sharp, Mina stopped by the shelter the man had mentioned. She didn't know why, maybe curiosity, maybe something tugging gently at her chest. Inside, it was warm and loud in a soft way. People talking, plates clinking, volunteers moving like they belonged. And there he was. He was helping serve soup now, sleeves rolled up, laughing with someone as if laughter hadn't once been rare for him. When he saw Mina, he froze for a second, then smiled wider than she remembered. "You came," he said. "I wasn't sure why," Mina replied honestly. He nodded. "That's usually how it starts." They talked while folding napkins. He told her his name was Rafiq. He told her about the months he'd spent feeling invisible, how hunger shrank the world until nothing existed beyond the next hour. "I used to think kindness had to be big," he said quietly. "Money, solutions, miracles." Mina looked at the stack of bread beside them. "But it was a sandwich," he continued. "Just one. And somehow, that was enough to remind me I mattered." Mina swallowed hard. Over time, she started volunteering once a week. Not because she felt she had to, but because it felt like the natural next step, like the extra sandwich had opened a door she hadn't noticed before. She still packed 2 sandwiches every morning. One day, a little girl at the shelter asked her, "Why do you always bring extra?" Mina thought for a moment. "Because I don't always know who I'll be," she said. "The one who needs it, or the one who can give it." The girl smiled, crumbs on her cheeks, and nodded as if that made perfect sense. Years later, Mina would forget many things, faces, dates, the exact taste of those early sandwiches. But she would never forget this. Kindness doesn't demand that you change the whole world. Sometimes, it just asks you to prepare for someone you haven't met yet. And somewhere out there, someone would always remember the day an extra sandwich told them they were not alone. Time has a quiet way of moving forward. Mina didn't notice it at first. Days slipped into weeks, weeks into years, marked not by big events but by small rituals. Morning light through the kitchen window, the soft tear of sandwich paper, the familiar weight of 2 lunches placed side by side. The extra sandwich was still there. But life, as it always does, changed shape. Mina's job became demanding. Long hours, late nights, the kind of tired that settles in your bones. Some mornings, she stood in the kitchen staring at the bread, wondering if she still had space to care the way she once did. Those were the mornings she almost made only one sandwich. Almost. On one such day, exhaustion followed her like a shadow. Her bus was delayed. The sky was gray, undecided. Near the hospital entrance, she noticed a woman sitting on the steps, holding a sleeping child close to her chest. The child's shoes were mismatched. The woman's hands trembled, not from cold, but from fear that had nowhere to go. Mina sat beside her. They didn't talk at first. Then Mina offered the sandwich. The woman's eyes filled instantly. "I was saving the last of my money for medicine," she whispered. "I didn't know what we'd eat." Mina felt the familiar ache, the same one she'd felt years ago at the bus stop. The ache that said this matters. That evening, Mina cried in her kitchen. Not because she was sad, but because she finally understood something she hadn't before. The extra sandwich wasn't about others alone. It was about who she chose to be, even when life pressed hard. Years passed again. Rafik moved on from the shelter. He studied. He worked. One afternoon, Mina received an invitation written in careful handwriting. Community cafe opening, everyone welcome. She almost didn't go. But she did. The cafe was small, warm, filled with the smell of bread and soup. On one wall hung a simple sign. If you're hungry, eat. If you're lonely, stay. Rafik stood behind the counter, confident now, steady in a way that felt earned. This place exists, he told Mina, because someone once packed extra. On the opening day, there was a shelf near the door. It held wrapped sandwiches. No names. No prices. Just food. Years later, long after Mina's hair turned silver, there would still be someone packing 2 lunches in a small apartment across town. A young man. A student. A mother. Each of them had once taken a sandwich from that shelf. Each of them now packed an extra. And the world, though still broken in places, held together by these small, ordinary acts, continued, quietly, gently, towards something better. Because kindness, once given, never truly ends, it just changes hands.